It is time for Tuesday with Thompson. The PT is here. Pete Thompson, like all guests, appears via the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. It's brought to you by Clark's Moving and Storage in South Jersey. For your next local or long-distance move, Clark's Moving and Storage is your first call. Dependable and always show up online, clarksmoving.net. All right, there he is. The PT is in the house. I hope you're feeling better, as PT was a no-show for the party on Saturday. Josh was there. Schwein was there. Scooter McKay was there.
Schwein told me he was overserved. He had a little hair of the dog on Sunday.
Wow. How about
did the right thing, felt a little something coming on there, and then basically went in, got into bed and slept. I missed a lot of things on Saturday, including the Derby, but I went back and watched it. In this day and age, you can go back and watch anything.
Yeah, so. Derby was good. Four horses right down the stretch they came. But I was into the draft Thursday, Friday, Saturday for most of the day. We had it on outside all day long, was checking in and out there. So let's get Tuesday with Thompson, Pete Thompson's overview of, it's funny because a lot of people dislike Howie Roseman, so much so, Peter, that they don't want to even give him credit when they want to say they did a good job. They just can't do it.
All right, no more than Marcus Hayes, right? Marcus Hayes loves to bash the Eagles and loves to bash Howie whenever he can, right? And his headline the other day was Tom Donahoe and the draft room drama obscure the fact that Howie Roseman crushed the NFL draft. Crushed, he said.
Wow.
So I got to tell you, Mike Gill, I was there were some things that bothered me about where picks fell and who they went with. And then I listened to this little thing called Football at 4 on 97.3 ESPN today. And Andrew DeCecco really did a nice job of calming the PT down and getting me to understand that finally the Eagles did what they're supposed to do, which is not draft based off of need always, but based off of the best player available. Everybody says that they're going for the best player available, but they reach, if you have a positional need, you reach for that instead of always getting the most talented person that's on the board at that time.
Well, and that is what, and this is the balance here, Peter. They have been criticized in years past for getting players in the draft that haven't been all that good because they're drafting players too high because they need them. I need a corner, so I'll take Rasul Douglas. Well, Rasul Douglas wasn't good enough to be drafted in that spot. You took him because you needed a corner. They did not go that route this time around. And they said, look, we might not have needed a defensive tackle, but we thought he was better than any corner that was on our board.
I mean, think of names in the past. Stuart Bradley, Nate Geary was a bit of a reach, right? And that was supposed to be a converted. What was he in college? He was really he a safety, and they were trying to convert him to linebacker, right? I mean, that's a tough thing to do, So, and we remember how vilified he was, and deservedly so. So instead of reaching, I think in many places they did go for the most talented guy. The one thing that gives me pause is that I do hope that center that they got, and at first the thing said guard, and I was like, what the hell do they need a guard for? And then it switched to center, and I understood. But I do hope that Landon Dickerson can live up to the hype, because that guy, the hype is awesome, but I just don't want to see Sidney Jones 2.0. Do you?
I think it's a totally different situation. I mean, Sidney Jones is a skill position player on the outside who tore his Achilles, and Landon Dickerson, who, by the way, tore his ACL once, came back from it, and was a dominant player before he tore his ACL again. So he's already proven once that he could come back from that injury and dominate. The question is, can you come back from it twice and dominate? Well, we've seen a couple of examples, here in Philly where Jason Peters tore his Achilles twice and came back and played. I mean, he wasn't.
That's true. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I think offensive linemen
in the Hall of Fame already.
No, but the point I'm making, Peter, is that offensive linemen, they don't have to use the speed and explosion as much as you do in the interior linemen don't need to do that as much as corners and wideouts need to.
They do need balance, though. And I think the one problem, it's not the ACLs that are troubling me for Dickerson. It's the ankle issues, okay? Remember how bad Lane Johnson was. Lane Johnson tried to go multiple times, and just off what was supposed to be minor surgery in the offseason, Lane Johnson wasn't able to really be 100% 100% the entire season.
Well,
so
he
God
re-injured
Dickerson's that way.
He re-injured that at that practice at the stadium that night.
Right, trying to come back too early too, right?
Right, and then, I mean, he was on the radio with us about a month ago and said that he got the surgery. He probably shouldn't have tried to play, but the team was in such disarray that he was trying to help the team out.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, ankle, ACLs, yes, like Brandon Brooks has come back from ACLs. You see guys with ACL injury, Jason Peters, like you said, or the Achilles. That was probably remember when the Achilles was a career ender?
Oh, yeah, but keep this in mind. Brandon Brooks tore his Achilles a couple seasons ago and came back and was an all-pro the next season, and then he tore it again, and we'll see how he comes back this year. I have no doubt in my mind that Brandon Brooks is going to come back and be probably a top 3 right guard in this league. So
this Landon Dickerson, this doesn't give you any pause at all.
Of course it gives you pause. I'm not going to sit here and say it's all, chocolate and rainbows, but right. I think he was worth the risk. Look, in the draft, everything is a risk. You never know. True. So if I'm going to get a guy that might have been a top 15 player, like the Sidney Jones thing, they did that because he would have been a top 15 player picked had he not been injured. No, it didn't work out.
He's still in the league, but it's never really – I mean, I think he's with Jacksonville, isn't he? But he's never really been what they thought he was going to become.
Right. He is in Jacksonville. Landon Dickerson, I mean, if he ends up taking over for Jason Kelce and he's your center for the next 10 years, you look back at that. Now, the difference is, I look at it as I said, I don't think they need an offensive lineman in this particular draft. They have some decent linemen if they're healthy. They got some experience with the guys last year. But the one guy that made sense was Dickerson because why, Pete Thompson? He can play all 5 positions. So one guy filled 5 needs.
Now, I heard Mosher say that he wasn't really a tackle, but you pointed out that he played tackle in Florida, right?
He played tackle at Florida State, correct. And even Nick Sirianni.
I had half of that, right?
Nick Sirianni pointed out that he also played tackle and could play tackle, but they view him as an inside guy. My point is he could play tackle if you needed him to, which means he can essentially be your swing. He could play for this year. I don't think down the road you're going to have him play tackle. I'm just saying, let's say Lane Johnson got hurt and missed time again. They could essentially say, look, Jason Kelce's healthy, Isaac Seumalo is healthy. We want you to go play right tackle. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Where do you want me? That's true. Listen, I will say this. When I saw the video of him doing the cartwheel behind Mac Jones, he's going to be a good fit in Philadelphia.
Well, number one,
they're going to like him.
And what I've been told, too, is that from day one, this guy's going to come in the locker room and be the leader and just absolutely take over the locker room. That he's that kind of guy.
Nice. Well, I'm all for it then. Okay, I'm on board.
Well, I mean, look, he's got to be able to play on the field too. Look, being the rah leader guy only lasts so long. Ask Tim Tebow. I mean, you can only.
That's
if
true.
you can't play and can't get on the field, that only lasts. But I think that was a pick that will end up working out for them as long as he's healthy. They got a really good player there. Obviously, the one thing was they didn't get a corner that people look at
till 4th round.
Yeah, but Andrew brought up the fact that he doesn't think he's an outside corner either. I think they're going to end up making a deal like they did for Darby. They'll make a trade late in the summer and go. They might not have a corner on this roster until mid-August.
Right, and maybe some team out there. What if a team loses 2 of their 3 tight ends or something like that? And there's this guy Ertz. Would you like to pick him up? Were you surprised that Ertz didn't move or no?
I was surprised he wasn't moved. I'm almost at the point now where, Sal Pal was on a couple Fridays ago.
Just keep him?
No, well, what Sal Pal said was that what he's been told inside the NovaCare is that they think they can compete now. Like in the division, they think that they can compete in this division right now. If that's the case, if that's their mindset, with Devonta Smith, Jalen Reagor, wouldn't you just say we're a better team with Ertz on it?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you look down, I looked at the offensive list a little bit. Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Reagor, Devontae Smith, Travis Fulgham, I'll throw in there, Dallas Goedert, and then Zach Ertz if he isn't traded. That's not a bad group of soldiers to go to war with.
But the key is, Peter, Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks, Jason Kelce, Isaac Seumalo, and Jordan Mailata. If those 5 guys play all season, That's a competitive offense.
Right. Even get 4/5 of them on a regular basis. You
Yes.
know, it was in such disarray last year. I heard you say that as you were warming up for football at 4, that, you know, the Eagles offensive line can be the best line in the division, one of the better lines in football, if they're all healthy. And last year, of course, hopefully was that anomaly because they were just so banged up.
And you made a good point. If only one of them gets hurt, you can withstand that. In other words, if Isaac Seumalo gets hurt, I can play Landon Dickerson there, and we're okay. If Lane Johnson gets hurt, I can play Jack Driscoll there, and we're okay. But if I start having to move this guy from the left side to the right side, and he gets hurt, and now he's playing next, you can't overcome that. I mean, Dallas went through the same thing. They had 3/4 or 3/5 of their line banged up last year too. Tyron Smith gets hurt, Zach Martin gets hurt, Lyle Collins gets hurt. So they went through the same situation.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's a reason that they always say that too. You can never have enough good offensive linemen in football. So, yeah. Now, did the draft drama bother you at all? Or I guess Howie did kind of come out and try to clarify it today, right?
No, it didn't bother me at all. People just go crazy about the most minute things.
I mean, they were rolling that stuff back like the Zapruder film. Look at Howie's reaction. Look at his hand.
Did you see the guy on Twitter
Did
you see the guy on Twitter who paused it and was pointing out everyone's faces in the background? I'm like, dude, you are looking at these faces way differently than what I see. But I looked at it like I liken it to this, PT. You and I are partners for fantasy football draft.
Sure.
And in one round, you're saying, ooh, there's so-and-so. And I'm saying, I don't want that guy.
Right.
You know, and at one point, one of us are just going to acquiesce to the other, be like, fine, take your guy, whatever. I feel like that's what happened in that situation. One guy in the room wanted one guy, and then the other side wanted the other guy, and they disagreed.
And I feel like something like that happens or has happened a lot over the history of football, just a bajillion times. It's just that now cameras are on everything, and you see everything, and like you said, people are uber paying attention and breaking down every minute detail. You know, I mean, I look at it like this. You know, Donahoe's 74, right? He's the grumpy old man, right? But, you know, I saw one reaction piece after that said there's a reason that Tom Donahoe hasn't run a draft and hasn't, you know, that he's senior advisor, right? He ain't the boss.
Exactly. And, you know, some people thought that it was because he wanted the corner. Well, Howie said today, no.
That's what I thought originally, but now I get it.
Right, that there was two tackles, and the tackle that Donahue wanted was the pick before the Eagles.
Right.
And Donahue essentially
NC State.
Yeah, and Donahue essentially didn't think trading back for an extra 6 was worth it.
Right. And what did that 6 end up being?
I don't recall which one was which, but I will say this.
Well,
they traded
6s are linebackers, so I can't understand how you don't know these. You see how the Eagles value the linebacker position, right? Oh, no, the 7th was linebacker. 6 was defensive end Teron Jackson. That's probably what it was.
They had 3 6s.
All right, Marlin, you say his last name. Marlin, the defensive tackle at 189, Teron Jackson at 191, and Jacoby Stevens, the law firm of Jacoby Stevens and Stevens.
Right, so that one was the extra one. Teron Jackson was the one. But they ended up trading, and I don't think people caught this. If you weren't watching the draft, you might not have saw this. They traded a 5th or 6th rounder this year. I think it was 2 6-rounders this year for 1 5th rounder next year.
Ooh, I'll gladly pay you for a hamburger on Thursday.
Correct.
Oh, no, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
And today is Tuesday, so I don't know how that works. Look, they started with 11 picks. They ended up with 9 players, right? Everything's still in play for Howie to have 3 first-round picks next year in the draft as well, if Carson Wentz does what he's supposed to do, which is hit that projection and give them a 3rd first-round pick. Listen, you can hate Howie till the cows come home. You got to tip your cap to him. The guy did everything right. I mean, he moved when he had to move, and he didn't move when he didn't have to move.
All right.
I tipped my cap to him. I thought he did a good job.
Hey, look, it's hard not to be satisfied with what Howie Roseman and the Eagles did. I don't give the credit all to Howie Roseman. I think it is a collective, collaborative effort inside that war room, and I think Howie and the team did a good job. I think that you saw them stick to the board, which is something they've wandered off of in years past.
And one of Sal Powell's themes, since we love Sal Powell so much on this show too, was he kept calling it like the do-over draft, right? This was their chance to finally go out and get a standout wide receiver, a no-brainer, blue chip, light it up wide receiver, and also maybe keep the quarterback happy in the process. Let's not draft a quarterback with our second-round draft pick or any other quarterback out there and give Jalen Hurts some pressure. They did live up to what Jeffrey Lurie had said. All the indications were that they were going to give Jalen Hurts all the tools that he needed to succeed. Well, giving him a guy that he played with in college and the Heisman Trophy winner, I'd say that's giving him the tools that he needs to succeed.
Yeah, all right. Pete Thompson, Tuesday with Thompson here on the Sports Best. Yeah, by the way, Devonta Smith, I got this text from a buddy of mine today who, let's just say, isn't the biggest Howie Roseman fan in the world. Do you believe they exist? But he actually texted me this and said, I got to give him credit. This was a quote, we asked all the SEC guys who the best player they played against was. All of them, everyone said Devonta Smith.
Yeah, I mean, that's it right there. How can you argue with that? And like you and I talked about, if they had stayed at 6, Devonta Smith would have been even a sensible pick. Instead, they get a 22 first-round pick, they get a third-round pick, and then get the Heisman Trophy winner. And that third-round pick was a pick that the lower one of the two, like you talked about. I mean, everything, all the moves I thought came up right.
All right, Pete Thompson here on the Sports Bash. I do want to get your thoughts on one thing. I saw this. This is a Flyers-related thing, okay?
All right.
I saw this in the New York Post, okay?
Wait a minute. Is this going to be the stat that I was going to blow your mind with? Because you already threw out my 2012 one, so you stole my thunder on that when you were going to break.
No, it's no stat.
Okay, go ahead.
This was from the New York Post. We're hearing that it is no sure thing at all that Alain Vigneault will return for his third season in Philadelphia next year.
Wow.
Hasn't 2021 in Philly smelled a lot like 2017-18 in New York? And if not Vigneault, who in the organization is going to answer for the debacle that became Carter Hart?
I haven't heard anything like that. In fact, I feel like Chuck Fletcher basically is giving Alain Vigneault a pass and putting it on the players, especially because he didn't do anything at the trade deadline, saying, now there's only, yes, we've talked till the cows come home about how Giroux has the no-move clause. Voracek's contract might as well make him a no-move contract. But, Kevin Hayes hasn't lived up to expectations. Nolan Patrick hasn't lived up to expectations. The defensive core has regressed. Who do you put it on? You try to move the players and try to do what you can to switch things up and find different people in there. I haven't heard anything that indicates to me that the organization is not happy with Alain Vigneault. Now, the only thing I didn't say in that answer is maybe Alain Vigneault is not happy with the organization. Like, what the hell did I get myself into?
Wasn't it like Vigneault, we had a good year in New York, and then, a lot of it was, he just grinded on these players, and, it kind of went south quickly, which seems to happen a lot in hockey.
It does. What's interesting, too, is remember at one point when look, I think everybody agrees that, and Billy Schwein, of all people, and myself talked about this on his show on Sunday. Not only did the team suffer from no heart, but they also had no heart, right? I mean, you could say that both ways. Carter Hart regressing, that's been a problem, right? That's been probably one of their biggest problems is that Carter Hart is not a franchise goalie right now that can steal them games. And he's banged up, right? But then the second thing is their attitude this year, for lack of a better word, sucked. I mean, they had no heart, no togetherness, no fire,
It's essentially they're the same team from last year, which makes it so puzzling.
Oh, it's completely baffling. I mean, literally all you did was you had the unexpected retirement of Matt Niskanen, but then everybody else that came back, they were supposed to be better, and everybody seemed to regress. I mean, everybody on the defensive core regressed again. Nolan Patrick regressed. Kevin Hayes, remember when Kevin Hayes, signed the big contract, everybody thought maybe that's too much money. But then, he had a great year last year, and everybody was like, oh, no, Kevin Hayes was a great signing. Where's Kevin Hayes been? I mean, they benched. This is how much Kevin Hayes has gone into the crapper. They benched him on a night where he was supposed to get his 500th NHL game. And instead of that, they benched him and AV sat him down for a game. And then he did get his 500th the other night. But I mean, that's sending a message to a veteran. When you bench a guy when he's supposed to have a milestone, that to me says that, nobody is immune to what's going on with the Flyers right now. I mean, look, they won. It was unbelievable. And you know what the other thing is, Mike? They won last night when it didn't mean a bleeping thing. No pressure on them, not a stinking thing. They come out and play one of their best games of the season and win 7-2. Why can't you play like that when it actually counts, when it actually means something?
Well, keep in mind, the team they were playing, the game, what's Pittsburgh playing for at this stage of the season?
Oh, no, it meant a lot to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's playing for seeding. Washington could end up with the top seed. They're tight in the East. Yeah, no, it means a lot to Pittsburgh right now. Pittsburgh actually had way more to play for than the Flyers last night. Maybe, Malkin was back for the first time, and it was weird seeing Jeff Carter in a Penguins uniform. That was odd. But, yeah, there was a lot going on. This was my stat, by the way, before you say goodbye and get off the line, PT. Did you see the thing when they were officially eliminated from the playoffs the other day? I saw a graphic on the postgame show. It said a historic decade. From 2012 to 2021, they've been in the playoffs, missed the playoffs, been in the playoffs, missed the playoffs. You get the pattern, right? So for a decade, that's been the Flyers' pattern. They are now, lucky them, the first team in the NHL, NBA, NFL, or Major League Baseball to alternate playoffs and non-playoff years for 10 straight seasons. Put that in your pipe and smoke.
That's a good one to leave with.
I think so. Mediocrity. Hashtag mediocrity. Hashtag great decade. Hashtag I want my money back.
Wow. Unbelievable. All right. Tuesday with Thompson at the PT973. Give him a follow. And he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk on the hotline. He'll be back for Happy Hour Friday. Peter, see ya.
Michael, take care.